We're gonna shoot something really big.
So today I want to talk to you about where I came from as a filmmaker and where I see the future going. I started my career out like so many. I had huge ideas, I had a ton of ambition, boundless energy, an open field in front of me, and by God, I was going to be doing what I needed to do in a couple years, and you know, it would all be a cakewalk from there. It ended up not being that. It ended up being, 7 or 8 years of a pretty brutal life of being broke, anonymous, and having a really hard time, getting work done in terms of getting my work out there. And I believed, like everybody else still does to this day, that if I make something good enough, I'll get quote unquote discovered. It's kind of like trying to win the lottery. And this went on for years. Eating ramen and hiding from the landlord. And I couldn't do it much anymore. So I started to question whether I even wanted to do this. It beat my ass. I got some things done. I had these little spikes of success, but I could never string it together where I was getting paid consistently, I was getting paid what I was worth, and I was working on the things that I wanted to be making. If I pointed another camera at a frickin' CEO with between two ferns and had him go, look up, look sideways, that was killing me. And I was the king of that shit. And, that paid the bills, but I was miserable. I had all of this stuff inside me and I couldn't get it out. It wasn't going anywhere. And when I did make something that I felt was important, barely anybody saw it. So I had to unpack all of that. I had to say, what am I doing here? What is it that I am doing that is yielding these results? And so I ended up kind of tearing it all down and looking at how I pitched, how I spent my time, what I was investing my time into, and how I was getting audience to watch my stuff. And I realized I was using the wrong tools the whole time. So when I put it back together, I literally did my homework and I talked to everybody. And it ended up being where I finally found a system that was like this great hack to this business. I realized I didn't have to suffer as much as I was. It didn't have to be as hard as it was. And it was because I had a shitty business model underneath all of the content I knew was good. And there was no way, no matter what I made or how much time I spent on it, it was ever going to be anything. So when I put it back together, I started pitching differently. I started investing in things. Instead of just doing what I felt like doing when I felt like doing it, I investigated whether people even wanted to watch it before I invested the time, before I invested money. And then I started getting into rooms because I wasn't afraid anymore to ask to be there. And I found a really great way to do that through one of the most badass email systems I've ever learned. And I learned it from somebody at a big agency who said, look, this is what it is. And, I put all of that stuff together and I finally saw the results. And it was my business. It wasn't my talent. And talent wasn't enough. Because when you get to the table, that's a given. They just assume you're talented. Otherwise, you wouldn't be allowed in that room. So I started alexlemay.com because I saw a lot of young filmmakers and even filmmakers that are smack dab in the middle of their career. Most of my clients are in their late 30s, mid to late 30s, early 40s. And they've been ground down by the business and they're on that verge of quitting. And by the time they come to me, a lot of them are like, where do I go with this, right? And my clients see what it took me to get to where I am, which is selling web series constantly, getting brand deals, being able to work on the projects, saying no to projects That was the day that I knew something was cooking, was when I got to say, nah, it's not really for me. Because I wasn't doing it just for the money anymore. I was doing it because it was going to further my journey into filmmaking, the one I saw for myself, not the one somebody else had defined for me. So, you know, my goal, again, here at alexlemay.com and on this YouTube channel and all of that, is to bind together all of the filmmakers that are sick and tired of the time and the money and the wondering what's next and feeling like you don't have control over your career. And I want to gather all those people together, and I want them to understand that there is a way, and there's a proven way. And the clients that I have now are really doing well. You know, and it all depends on whether they are willing to let go of old habits, invest in themselves, and make huge changes in the way they think and in the actions that they take. So you know, the future is bright, and for me, the future includes all of you. So if you are part of this community, I am super stoked you're here. It has been an amazing ride. I get emails from people every day, and they're curious, and they're ferocious creators, and you know, I want to have a conspiracy of ninjas out there making the best work and making a ton of money doing it and finally living that life that we all set out to do. So the future is bright, and it includes you.